Now, some of you probably know Sophie, probably seen her around. Obviously, she's my fabulous, wonderful co-host on the Star Trading podcast, which we need to get a date in the diary for the next season, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
Do you want to do it in Greece? Do you want to come to Greece and do it?
I think you should fly me to Greece to do it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you in Doncaster then. So it's going to be interesting trying to find time for that. But yes, so some of you will already know Sophie. You know, she's a successful trader, started with the Star Trading method, she's just an all-round fabulous person. But I'm going to start this off by saying 2 questions for Sophie. Number 1, Sophie, who are you? In case people don't know how fabulous and how wonderful you are and everything that you do, please let us all know who you are. And then I'm going to ask another question, which is, tell us something which this particular group may not know about you.
Oh, interesting fact. Okay. Hi, everyone in the chat. It's nice to see some familiar names there. To people who don't know me, I'm Sophie. Grew up in Surrey. I'm a bit of an adventurer, so as soon as I could, I took a gap year. I took a year out. I went to Malaysia to teach English for 3 months, and actually ended up staying a year and becoming a scuba diving instructor because there's the most amazing diving out there. And then throughout university, I had summers off. So I spent a summer in Vietnam running a dive school there, a summer in Thailand, a summer in Fiji, and then decided to start my own business. So bought a beach in Indonesia and built a resort there.
As you
That's
do.
where business, property development. We learned Indonesian, how to figure out a business in a different country, what visas we needed. This is all important for you, Lewis. Who you need to know, all the corruption and stuff like that. That was a massive challenge. Had our 2 kids out there, which was beautiful. They all got immediately adopted by our Indonesian staff. And then we moved back here when they were 3 and 4 to go to school in England. So since then, we did a few different things, many different things, figuring out, pivoting, seeing what we were good at. But I just wanted to run my own business again, because I feel like when you've got a business idea, or like many of us, a million business ideas, the sky's the limit, and you can fail and try again and make money. Basically, it's uncapped if you do well. So I really liked the idea of having a business. So now I've got a property management business, which has grown really quickly in the last 4 or 5 years, and so I coach and mentor other people to build their businesses as well.
Awesome. So that's a very quick history of all the amazing things you've done and achieved in life. So what is something interesting about you that this particular group may not know?
The one that came to mind was that I could hold my breath for 3 minutes, because I did free diving training in Thailand, and they would help you train in breath holding, and so we managed just over 3 minutes.
There you go. Hold a leave. How long can you hold your breath for? That'd be a good challenge there. Free diving is something which I think must be incredibly peaceful when you get down to those lower depths. But also, I'd find it very, very scary. The ocean freaks me out. It absolutely freaks me out. There's some very scary YouTube videos. So although I did a cruise recently, thankfully the seas were very calm. I'm not sure how well I would cope with choppy seas.
Yeah, but when we go diving, we stay on the reef and it's nice and shallow and beautiful. I'll take you one day, Lewis.
Finding Nemo. I'm fine with that. I'm very fine with that. Awesome. So in terms of kind of everything you've achieved, what kind of triggered your desire to achieve what you've achieved financially? Obviously, you added in trading and became a successful trader as well, which I love what you described there about business. If you do well at it, it can be uncapped. And I think that's very much the case with trading as well. So what is it that's kind of inspired you, or those trigger moments that have made you go, yeah, I want to do something other than the norm?
Well, I think I've always liked to challenge. When I was at school, I was a bit of a high achiever. So I flew through primary school, was put in for this exam for a grammar school, which I got into. And we were all just expected to be the best of the best. You are clever girls. You're going to be the most intelligent. You need to be the doctors and the lawyers and the leaders. And it was just drummed into us. Put your hand up for things. Say yes to everything. Go for things. Be ambitious. And I've only realised recently that that's why I've said yes to so many things, because you're just trained into it. And actually, sometimes that leads to a bit of burnout and a bit of overwhelm, because you don't have to say yes to everything. That's been a very recent learning of mine. But yeah, I've always loved a challenge. I've loved hard things. I've loved being uncomfortable. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
But I think I've got my confidence from overcoming hard things. I always try and say to myself, like, I can do hard things. If someone can achieve something, why can't I achieve it? Why can't I do it as well? There must be a step by step process to doing it that I can find out and do. So yeah, overcoming things like the wildfire in Indonesia and going into quite male dominated industries and trying to forge my way into them has given me confidence to then just keep going and go for the next one.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you think there very much was an element of nature there? You've talked a lot there about nurture in terms of the kind of environment you were in growing up. Do you think you had that in you anyway? Do you think that it was something that was cultivated in you? How do you kind of feel that arrived?
I feel like my parents have always been very encouraging and very adventurous. So they've always said, you know, yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to, go for it. Even when I moved to Indonesia and said to them, I'm thinking about moving across the world and buying a beach, they were like, yeah, go for it. You know, the worst thing that can happen is I come home again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mix of having that support, I think, and encouragement. Because when we do things like start a business, it's a bit of an odd thing. Not many people do this. And most people will say to you, oh, are you sure? That's quite risky. Why are you doing that? Because they're looking out for you, and it is risky, and a lot of businesses fail.
Yeah.
You just have a few core people who believe in you and go, yeah, go for it, I think is absolutely key.
I love that. And I think a lot of people don't have that, do they? They don't have that support network. They don't have a safe place to retreat to. And I think part of the reason why the Star Trading community feels so good, and you are part of it, which is partly why we're so amazing, is because we do have that support structure there. And my hope is that everyone in Star Trading does feel supported and knows that they can reach out to the community, but also to the team whenever they do need that help, they need that support, they need that encouragement, the yes, you can do this, or maybe just a little kick up the backside as well when that's needed. So I think that's really, really important. I was thinking about this, I think about this a lot, but the idea of privilege, I find it a really interesting topic and an interesting, everyone's take on it is very, very different, right? And I have a little bit of a different take on it than what I've seen elsewhere. And I think privilege, a lot of the privilege I've had in my life, it comes down to the environments I was in as a child, because my parents were teachers. They weren't entrepreneurial, but they were around other business people, even though my parents weren't business people. So I understood from an early age that business was an option, that you could become successful outside of a normal job. And so I think that is a massive privilege I had in terms of being exposed to other mindsets and other ways of doing things. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so many different layers, aren't there, when you think about privilege. And I think having been able to live in different countries and meet different people and actually see how much we have, you know, even having running water and electricity was a massive luxury for us when we moved back to the UK. And it just gives you perspective of what we have, you know, and I think we all need to appreciate that a lot more. But going back to what you said about the community, I think it's always good to have people a couple of steps ahead of you in whatever you're trying to do. So people might join the community and see you and Josh and maybe some of the coaches and think, oh my God, they're really experienced. They're massive traders. They've been doing it for years. But within the community, you can ask a question and someone who's just figured it out can tell you. And they're just a few steps ahead of you. So it's almost a bit more relatable, even though we're all good friends and we would all help each other in a heartbeat. It's really nice to just have those stages of progress within the community that people are clearly, you know, you're being helped by everyone, and then you can then help them the following week or the following month.
So in terms of help then, did you have any specific help, any mentors, anything like that along this journey to get to where you are now? I know for trading you had Star Trading, but kind of in terms of the things which have really helped you develop that mindset to achieve the things you've achieved in the property world as well. Did you just do it all solo, just thinking, yeah, I'll give it a go and I'll hope for the best? How did that kind of come about? What support structures did you have there?
So with our first business, which was the resort in Indonesia, we were absolutely making it up as we went along. We were just, let's build a cottage there. Let's get a permit. We think we need a permit for this. Let's just get all over the internet. And we were just, there were so few rules that we could do whatever we wanted. I remember the building permit guy came for a visit and said, how many are you going to build? And we said, oh, we'd like a permit for 8 cottages. And he said, oh, I'll give you one for 20. Then you can expand if you want.
Wow.
So we just had, it was like a playground where you could just build and build and build. But at the same time, the risk was massive. You know, if the guests didn't come, if the staff didn't turn up, if we missed a delivery, then, you know, the business would fall. So we had to build in structures for that. And it was fun. It was so fun. But in my property business, I have worked with coaches and mentors, and that's amazing because they can see what you're doing and then they can give you all these other options and perspectives and ways to grow that, you know, in your own head, you don't have the knowledge or experience to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of mentoring and coaching is as the one being coached, it's like you're borrowing their confidence, because you may actually have the knowledge in place, but you're not confident enough to really apply it in the way you know you can or the way you know you should. And I feel like people get to that point in Star Trading. They've got their seals of approval. They've got all of the knowledge they need. It's now a case of building the confidence and going for it. And I think having a mentor who's there spurring you on, and maybe you want that in a more ongoing way or whatever it might be. But I have found that a lot of the time when I'm being coached or being mentored, I already know the answer. I just want someone to confirm the answer for me, so I know I'm not being absolute silly Billy, and I can continue on, and I'm basically borrowing their confidence. And I think that helps massively as well.
Yeah, and it could be the other way as well, like they have to rein you in a bit. So I remember when I started live trading, I wanted to trade all the time, every day, you know, going from that rhythm of back testing where it's quite quick and you can do as much as you want, to live trading where there's not necessarily a trade to take every day. I had to be reined in by Josh at that point. So I think some people are all guns blazing and it's like, okay, slow down a bit, wait for the good trades. And other people, it's sprinkling a bit more confidence, as you said.
Yeah, definitely. There's a question here from Anu Palmer. Any shortcomings or roadblocks you encountered in your journey, and how did you overcome those? Great question.
Many. I think, if you're going to start something new, you have to overcome those dips. You know, there's that chart of conscious, what is it called? Conscious competence and unconscious confidence. And basically you start not knowing anything, and then you realize how much you have to learn, and you get a bit of a dip and uncertainty, and then you have to go through it. So a lot of it is mindset, going, look, they've done it. There's all these successful people who are doing it. If they can do it, I can do it too. And then sometimes it's a learning. It's just something I need to learn, something I need to find the answers to. And sometimes it's just, this thing has failed and I need to do something else. You know, I need to pivot. I've invested in something and it hasn't worked, and I'll try something else. Like last year, I thought, I need to do a female leadership course. I need to launch a course for female leaders to get them more confident, because a lot of women I come across lack confidence in themselves, and I can see how amazing they are. So I did a bit of market research and did a bit of a launch, and it failed. People didn't want it. I think it didn't have the tangible results like, you know, my property mentoring can clearly give people. So that was really interesting, but I just kept going with my property stuff and trading and other things. And I think you have to try lots of different things and just keep going with them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's that not being held back by the fear of what if this doesn't work. And I think that's something that I definitely find inspirational about you is that you will try this, you will try that, you'll go for it, you'll give that thing your all, but then you're not afraid to be like, oh, actually that isn't working the way I want it to work. It's not serving me the way I wanted it to serve me. And even just, I'm not enjoying that anymore, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm going to move on and focus on something different. And I think that's brilliant. And I love the freedom and the flexibility to do that. Do you think part of the reason you're able to do that now is because you have a financial foundation? You've got money coming in from trading, you've got money coming in from property. So you've already got that foundation of money coming in that now you can go and play. You can have fun, you can enjoy, you can give this a go, you can give that a go. What do you think that's what's enabling you to do that, or have you just always been that way anyway?
I think I've always had a million business ideas. Like a couple of days ago, I decided I need a popcorn business because I went to the cinema. £8, Lewis, for this much popcorn. And I thought, oh, they're making good margins on that.
Yeah.
So I thought, popcorn business.
I want a pizza business, but I'd eat it all. So I would be the person that eats all the profits.
What was the question?
Do you think you feel more comfortable trying things and just going for it with things because you already have a financial foundation of property and trading?
Yeah, I think when we got back to the UK, we both got jobs as air traffic controllers, and we were being trained, and we were earning 17 grand a year, 17. And we were both doing it, and we had our kids were 2 and 3, and they were in full-time childcare, which was very expensive. So I remember budgeting £60 a week for food, and I'd go to the Tesco online shop and I'd make sure it was no more than £60, and I do like really budget meals, and we did nothing else. Like, I was so good at budgeting, and that was 2 years of our lives. And when we were going to qualify, we would then get £60,000 salary each. But we didn't, because COVID hit and there were no more planes. So they fired all of us. Yeah, that was painful. But I will always remember, I'll never forget the feeling of tightly budgeting that with my 2 young children, 60 quid on food. And I always have that now in the back of my mind, that can happen anytime to any of us. We could be put back in that position. And so I just want to make as much money as I can.
Yeah.
When I was starting my business and cash flow was scary, someone said to me, just make more sales, just make as many sales as you can, and that will get you out of those cash flow dips.
Yeah.
And so I've just got this drive I never want to feel that way that I did before. I want to be able to treat my kids. And a couple of weeks ago we had a yes day where I just said yes to anything they wanted to do. That's an amazing privilege to be able to do that. It was mainly about ice cream. But yeah, I don't want to be in that position again. So I want to get myself to, a position where we don't have to worry about cash. And I want to, as you do, help other people get that financial stability as well. So you don't have to be budgeting really tightly every single week. You can do more of what makes you happy.
Yeah. Here's a potentially challenging question, and I don't mean it to be. I just find it really interesting. So that experience of basically being promised you're going to have this income, and then it's completely gone because it's gone. And even the rubbish salary you were on is now also gone because you don't have that. I can imagine that's quite a difficult, painful, scary, traumatic, whatever word you want to use. It's not a fun situation to be in, right? And I was going to ask, how do you think that has impacted the way you operate now? But then you perfectly explained how that has impacted the way you operate now. So is that now a fear-based response? Because I know you're someone who so operates in abundance as well and overflow, but it sounded a little bit like that response is still a fear-based response that's coming from there. How do you balance those two mindsets of abundance versus fear?
That's a really good question. I think just when I started my business, it was definitely fear-based. Like, I never want to be in that situation again. I have to now make as many sales as I possibly can to get myself out of it. And then when we were out of it and we were stable, my business just grew and grew. And I was like, there's actually no cap on this. I could make this business massive if I wanted to. And it's just kept growing and growing. And then suddenly people started wanting me to coach and mentor them to do the same thing. Then I found trading, then I found investing. So I was like, you can build as many multiple income streams as you want.
Yeah.
So we don't have to hold ourselves back at all.
Yeah.
So I think it was an important lesson to me that, you've got one small income stream, and when it's gone, you're screwed.
Yeah.
To now with me going, well, okay, what else can we do? And what's a smart way of managing these things?
I think you've really well explained the kind of emotional process that we can go on with this as well. So I've just been told my battery's low. Oops. So we can, for me, I definitely feel like I got into trading as a fear-based response to the fact that my salary was rubbish. I've always been panicked about what happens if things go wrong. And I still kind of have that. It's something I'm working through. Even though I've got more money, more wealth than I've ever had, and it's more secure than it's ever been, I still worry and panic about that. And I think that you get to a point where you're working so hard to create wealth, whether that's through a business, whether that's through your trading, whatever it might be, and you hit this certain point where all your bills are covered, where you can have an okay lifestyle with the money that comes in each month. And it suddenly lets you breathe and almost lets your nervous system start to be able to reset. And at that point, we can start to see things differently, and we can challenge our own fear-based response and start thinking about abundance. And I think your expectation is maybe the wrong word, but your perception is a better word. Your perception of what is possible for you and what life can be and what wealth you can create starts to shift and starts to change. So I talk about on our masterclasses, the wealth triangle. I don't know if anybody remembers that from when they were on a masterclass however long ago. And we step up from financial drama to financial stability. And then we move from stability into financial freedom, which is time and money freedom. And the jump between those two places is a really interesting space emotionally. And sometimes it can take a while for our brains to catch up, because when we shift into financial abundance and time and money freedom, we don't have to have the same concerns and the same worries that we've had at those lower levels. And so it removes emotional load, it removes mental load, and then our vision can become far wider and far bigger. But it's hard to have that vision when you're working your way up to get to that point. It's almost like climbing a mountain, and then you hit the mountain peak and you can see the vision of what's possible. And then you realize, oh, there's some other mountains I can climb if I want to. And I think that's a brilliant thing that you said as well. It's I can grow these businesses, these multiple streams of income, if I want to. And something I'm challenged by is truly knowing what I want and why I'm doing it as well. And I think when people get really clear on what they want, then it starts to happen a lot quicker and a lot easier. That's right, Kavita, lovely to see you. So I've just thrown it out there, but I do think it's interesting how we have to get to certain levels of financial stability or peace or abundance before our vision can then open up to what's then possible at the next stage and the next level. And that journey is so personal. Different people reach there at different points. Andrew Palmer says, when you begin to have teams helping you, you will then have to keep hoping and, more importantly, growing. Would that also be a challenge to grow further from abundance? I think we can both answer this question. So I think when you have a team, for me, I'll speak for me personally, I do not worry about my team, but I'm very conscious of the fact that Star Trading, as the business that has the team, has to generate income to pay them so they can pay their mortgages and do what they want to do with their lives. I'm very, very conscious about that. Very conscious. Am I concerned about it? No, because the way that I've structured Star Trading is to make that possible over and over again and as repeatable a process as possible. If we have a month where it's lower in terms of revenue, then yes, of course, I may panic about that a little bit, but I'm also a protection financial person. Like I'm low risk, aren't I, as you all know. So I have lots of reserves to make sure they are protected in case anything was to stop working in the way it has been working for the past however many years. So I definitely think it's something I'm very conscious of. I wouldn't say it's something I'm fearful of. It actually is a foundation for me to think bigger and be excited by bigger. And I see it as my moral obligation to grow bigger, to impact and help more people. And that includes my team growing and being able to help and impact them more as well. My greatest joy in life right now is seeing my team as individuals grow and expand and step into new levels of responsibility, new levels of awareness, and new levels of confidence about what they can do and what they can achieve. That's my favorite thing, which is why all my team have to go through the mentorship as well. How about you, Sophie?
I thought that was a really good answer. I think for me in business, the worst thing you can do is just create another job for yourself. So creating something where you're exchanging your time for money, and it can't work without you. I think the best kind of business you can have is one that is scalable, one that is automated and has systems, and one that can ultimately work without you. As lovely as we both are, we're both well into our businesses, we should be able to remove ourselves and it should work with our team or our systems. And those kind of businesses are really good because then you can grow them and you've got all the stuff in place to be able to do that.
Yeah, amazing. So we're coming close to end of our time here, because remember, these are now meant to be shorter for you guys because we take a lot of your time, particularly in the evenings, which is why they're now lunchtime as well. But what are some final questions everybody has for Sophie? So Sophie, I'm going to ask, what is one internal belief you have that you feel has driven your success and helped you handle that success?
I've always followed what makes me happy. So like, do what makes you happy is a motto that I've followed, to just keep trying and keep doing things and keep following my heart and my passion. Yeah. And also that we can do hard things. We really can do hard things. If it's been done before, then we can figure out a way of doing it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. If someone else can do it, why can't I? And it's not discounting yourself from that process whatsoever. I love that. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions come through. I think you've gotten away fairly lightly. Yeah. So what was I going to say? Yes. So, is that quick? No, so this is my laptop being funny. So yes, of course, you can catch up with Sophie through Discord. Sophie, where can people follow you on social media, where you post some really cool stuff? And there's a question here. Tatiana says, how has trading helped you to grow?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's obviously a new skill, a new income stream, which is amazing. It has made me a bit more disciplined because I'm such a fast, let's get it done. Let's get trading. I've had to just discipline myself a bit and just take the good trades, the perfectly set up ones. So that's definitely helped me. Yeah, brilliant. And then a couple of questions of, did you find trading challenging despite being successful in property? Yeah, I remember finding the first part really challenging, figuring out what the candle is, what all the things on the chart mean. I really had to get my head around that. So I found the first strategy quite difficult. But then it clicked. Somehow it clicked after about a month, and went on to the other strategies. And I think they get easier every time because you learn the basics and the fundamentals, and then you can then apply it later on. Yeah, amazing. Now all the questions come through. Brilliant. So in terms of mindset, which book has been the most help to you? So Atomic Habits, I really like. Brilliant one. Because it's really good. Definitely read Atomic Habits. Lewis's book is amazing. Also, there's a book called The C Word by Mel Schilling. She's one of the experts on Married at First Sight, and that's all about confidence. So that's a really good one as well. Love that. And then Hodleaf says, are you still actively involved in podcasting? Yeah, we've got the podcast, and we've just finished season 3, haven't we? So season 4 will be international. And I've just launched my own podcast called The Happy Investor, which I think Lewis is going to come on soon. Sounds great. I love podcasting. It is great, isn't it, to be able to have that conversation that goes in lots of different ways. Yeah,
No, I love it as well. Well, Sophie, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody else, thank you very much for joining us as well. The next Rich in Conversation is next month. Surprise, surprise, there's one a month. I can't remember who the guest is. That's shocking of me. But I do know all of the guests we have are phenomenal. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the next guest. It's one of two. I don't want to name one, but they're both phenomenal. So I'm very much looking forward to that Rich in Conversation. Speak to you all very, very soon. And again, thank you very much, Sophie. I'll speak to you later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for me. Bye.